Salve, salve, pessoal! Sejam muito bem-vindos, todos os criptólogos, tecnofilósofos e habitantes e visitantes do Castaverso, para uma entrevista com o pessoal da Ociswap, que desenvolvem no ecossistema da Radix. Temos nosso convidado, Lukas. Good
Bom
night, good
dia.
afternoon, good morning, Lukas. How are you, man?
Bom dia, obrigado. Muito obrigado. Thank you so much for your introduction. Looking forward to this, and also the intro music were already very cheering, so looking forward
Vou
to our
perguntar,
conversation.
did you like the music?
Yeah, it was like
Yes.
very
It was done.
energizing.
Yes, it was done using Euler Beats, NFT platform from Consensus.
Ah, really?
So it's an NFT as well.
Consensus in Austin. Oh.
Yes. I can show you later.
Awesome.
Galerinha, só dar uma introdução aqui, porque a gente vai ficar nesse inglês-português, português-English, oh my God. Como é que funciona isso aqui? Eu vou falar com vocês em português, vou falar com o Lucas em inglês, e a gente vai traduzindo as perguntas em tempo real. So I'm just explaining how it's going to be your chat to the audience, Lucas. I'm going to talk to you in English and then talk to the audience in Portuguese, so people from both languages can enjoy the interview and no need for subtitles. I'll just explain how it's going to be, then I'm going to get back to you, okay?
Awesome.
Beleza, então. Galera, nosso ritual aqui, tem uma galera boa chegando, né? Só dar um alô. Gente da Guilda, gente que não é da Guilda, temos pessoas que falam em inglês chegando. O esquema vai ser o seguinte: perguntas vou fazer para o Lucas em inglês, traduzir para vocês em português. E a gente sempre começa a nossa entrevista, antes de falar do assunto em questão, a gente pergunta um pouco para o nosso convidado sobre a jornada dele no mundo cripto. Então eu vou perguntar para o Lucas como que ele começou a entrar em cripto e como que depois ele foi parar trabalhando na Ociswap, desenvolvendo no ecossistema da Radix. So, Lucas, it's a pleasure to have you here. We thank you a lot for coming in our channel to talk about Radix and inform the Brazilian audience. Our first question for you is the same question for all our guests. That is, if you could share with us a little about your crypto journey and how you end up at Ociswap and Radix ecosystem.
In short, I try my best. So I first discovered Bitcoin, Ethereum in around 2016, 17. At the time, some friends mentioned it. Basically, got curious about it, but more from the investor perspective, just to play around a bit, to speculate a bit, teach and trading, stuff like that in the very early days. And so not really serious stuff, right? So, but obviously the 2070 craze, ICO craze, was kind of crazy. Burned a lot during that time, and lost a bit of interest afterwards, until I heard about Radix like 2.5 years ago. My friend Christoph Heuermann mentioned it, and I dig deeper at the time, and I never lost any attention or my interest to Radix, and that was the reason I decided to start a node, Status node, together with Christoph. And later also Marco and Lauren asked me to join the Ociswap team as well. So one after the other, basically. And that was my journey so far with crypto.
Great. While you are speaking, I'm going to be taking some notes, because it is trouble enough to translate and then to remember everything you said. So while you are speaking, I have to zip your content and the audience. Então, galera, é o seguinte, estava explicando para ele que enquanto ele estiver falando, eu vou estar tomando umas notas, né? Porque traduzir já é trabalho suficiente, lembrar já é demais, né? Então, o que ele falou? Que ele começou no mundo cripto com Bitcoin e Ethereum, lá por 2016, né, quando uns amigos falaram para ele que o negócio existia, e ele, como muitos de nós, para não dizer todos ou praticamente todos, começou no rolê especulando, né, comprando, vendendo moedas mágicas, fazer uma grana e tal. Ele surfou, né, pro bem ou pro mal, com maior ou menor sucesso, a febre dos ICOs de 2017, mas foi cerca de há uns 2 anos e meio, tá, no passado, que um amigo dele apresentou a Radix. Ele começou a se envolver com o ecossistema, subiu o Node, eventualmente conheceu o time da Ociswap e foi convidado para fazer parte do time. Eu quero perguntar agora um pouquinho para ele sobre o que é a Ociswap, né, que é uma DEX do ecossistema Radix. Pelo nome a gente já começa a ter uma noção, mas o que é a Ociswap e por que a Ociswap decidiu fazer uma DEX no ecossistema da Radix, para a gente ter uma visão melhor sobre eles, e depois a gente começa a falar um pouco sobre o upgrade Babylon e detalhes da Radix. So, Lukas, yeah, that's a nice introduction. I would like to know a little bit about Ociswap. Like, what is Ociswap? And even more profound question: why build a DEX on the Radix ecosystem? If you could share some insight with us about that.
A good question. So Ociswap is decentralized exchange. We see us as the front page of Radix. So basically the first page people will visit when they're joining the new and upcoming Radix ecosystem. Therefore the front page. So we have a first glance about every listed token on with own pools on Ociswap, like on CoinMarketCap, on CoinGecko, for instance. So can have a first view about it, about stats, charts, and stuff like that. And we also want to provide a Uniswap V3-like experience with concentrated liquidity later on, and even announced hooks like the V4 style as well. And the great part is obviously we're leveraging all the Radix tech itself as well. So therefore people can trade with confidence on our exchange. So no more blind signing. You have a clue what you're doing before you're signing a transaction with a human readable transaction manifest. And we cannot wait to show people all this Babylon stuff when everything goes live. It's like a completely new level of how to achieve crypto.
Great, thanks a lot. O que ele disse, pessoal? Que a visão deles é óbvio, Ociswap, como o nome fala, é uma DEX, mas que mais que apenas só uma DEX, eles querem ser a front page da Radix, né? O primeiro lugar onde você para entrar no ecossistema da Radix. Então, um lugar para você encontrar todos os tokens do ecossistema, ter ali um mapeamento, né, do DeFi, do que rola, até como se eles pudessem atuar como um CoinGecko ou um CoinMarketCap do ecossistema da Radix, né? E que ele está muito empolgado, assim, eles querem botar, por exemplo, experiência nível Uniswap V3, com ranges e faixas de liquidez, para você poder concentrar a sua posição, bem bacana, e que uma das coisas que ele está otimista são as evoluções do Babylon Upgrade, vamos chegar nelas, mas ele falou um pouco sobre uma coisa interessante, que eu também estou muito interessado, que é você poder, pela carteira da Radix, ter o que ele chamou de Human Readable Transactions, né? Ou você poder olhar para as transações de forma que um ser humano entenda, e não aquele monte de hash e aquela maluquice que só quem é muito criptonativo que realmente consegue ler o que está aprovando, né? Então eu vou aproveitar esse gancho e vou perguntar um pouquinho para ele sobre qual que é a relação do time da Ociswap com o time da Radix, tá? E aí a gente vai se encaminhando para começar a listar esses upgrades do Babylon e até saber se o time da Ociswap tem envolvimento nesses upgrades. So, great, Lukas. Yes, I'm curious about something. What is the level of engagement and partnership that Ociswap has with Radix? Like, does you guys work with the Radix team and also develop on the protocol itself, or you are just focusing on Ociswap? And how are your engagements, Ociswap engagement, on the new features that are coming to Babylon? Because they have a lot of synergy. We have a new wallet, we have human readable transactions. So how is this relationship between you guys, Radix team, and the upcoming Babylon upgrade?
Yeah, it's obviously very close. But in general, there's kind of a separation between the core developer team RDX Works and all the developers building dApps on Radix. So it's also important for the Radix team itself to don't be a competitor inside your own ecosystem. Like, they're building their own Radix wallet, but that's basically it. And also the Insta bridge, so to have some wrap tokens later on. But everything else should be provided from the ecosystem itself. And therefore, we also with Ociswap team kind of separate, of course, from the core developer team. Otherwise, we also had the opportunity to be part of the very first Radix grants program that was in the beginning of this year, from January to April. And it ended in Austin, Texas, with the consensus event. We've been there with our own OCCAT mascot as well. It was a great opportunity. It was so much fun to prepare everything and to be around, be noisy. And the first people had a glance what actually is going on the ecosystem before actually smart contracts are live. Yeah, but it's just one more day left. So yeah, so excited.
We are very close. Ele falou o seguinte, pessoal, que eles têm relações muito próximas, tá, com o time da Radix, mas que engenheiros da Radix são engenheiros da Radix, engenheiros da Ociswap são engenheiros da Ociswap. Então, eles colaboram em termos de alto nível, mas não vão programar, um não vai mexer no código do outro. Até o time da Radix Wallet tem um time dedicado para essa carteira. Só que o que ele achou interessante, ele falou para nós aqui, que eu achei interessante, é que eles são um dos primeiros times a pegar grant, né, da Radix. Então, o time da Radix está também relacionado no sentido de que a Ociswap foi um dos primeiros projetos a se destacar, a ganhar relevância no ecossistema e a embolsar um grant. Tá? E agora eu quero perguntar um pouco para ele, vai deixando pergunta no chat, pessoal, que eu puxo no final, tá? Sobre por que eles, no sentido de escolher a Radix, por que eles acreditam na Radix? E em cima de uma pergunta especial. Quando a gente fala de Radix, pelo menos no Brasil, e até a visão internacional pode ser diferente, mas o que eu vejo na comunidade BR da Radix é que a gente ainda encara a Radix como uma matadora de Ethereum, ou como uma parada que vai dominar o mundo e as outras blockchains vão morrer e Radix vai reinar suprema e tal, porque a gente acha que a gente tem que resolver o trilema matando ele numa tacada só, numa única rede, numa única DLT. Então eu quero perguntar um pouco para ele se ele compartilha dessa visão e até se ele pode nos dar algum insight, se é assim que Radix é enxergada no exterior ou se é uma visão particular que nós brasileiros acabamos desenvolvendo aqui. So Lucas, let's talk a little about Radix, okay? We did 2 deep dives in Radix on this channel. We have a program that is called Casta Estuda, or Study with Casta.
Yeah.
Where what I do, this live has been circulating. I open my screen, share my screen, and I start to study something I have never studied before, and it's going live. I am studying and taking notes and having insights. So we have more than 6 hours of deep dive on Radix so far, where we study a lot about the Radix proposal and the consensus sabermos. So this is a community that already is studying Radix. Yep. And what I have observed from the Brazilian community is that Brazilians that love Radix, they have this vision that Radix is somewhat of a super Ethereum killer, and that in the future, Radix is going to obliterate all the blockchains and is going to reign supreme as the holy grail. Yes, the holy grail that has solved the scalability trilemma. And this is a prevalent vision. Like if you see the memes that circulate in Brazilian community, it's like Radix as a Pac-Man, and it's eating everyone else, it's dominating everything. So I don't know if that is only a Brazilian perspective, and if the international perspective, the Radix core devs, the perspective, and Ociswap team perspective, do you guys see a future that Radix is really going to be like this king of the land and it's going to obliterate everyone, or you guys see somewhat like more conservative vision? We're going to have a multi-chain feature, and Radix is going to have its own place in the sun, and there will be a relevant player of a more polarized, a more diverse future in terms of blockchain technology.
Really good question. So obviously, it's important to separate between short, mid, long-term vision. In the short term, definitely we have to be multi-chain to be compatible with existing layer ones, or at least to have bridges, on-ramps, stuff like that, easy onboarding with wrapped assets as well, stable coins, stuff like that from the ETH, EVM, and therefore all the other layer ones is really important to have an easy onboarding experience, also to attract more people. Maybe they getting curious to visit, to explore Radix. When they're coming from MetaMask or other places, it's kind of a completely new space, and I guess that a lot of people will be very curious to visit. Therefore, the short to the midterm, more and more people getting aware of this very unique experience from the user's perspective, but also from the developer's perspective. That's very important. So more and more developers are talking to each other, right? They're saying, hey, it's so easy to build dApps with crypto. Why do you don't want to start already? There's so many blueprints already live now with Babylon in the midterm. Just pick your blueprint, attach it to your project, and innovate on top of it. And this obviously will attract more and more users as well, because every single project, every single developer wants to have users, and they have to do, they will do their own marketing and awareness. So in the midterm, it's like from the bottom up, more and more people and developers will getting aware of it. There's no other way around it, because it's really so amazing. That's our own experience with Ociswap. The first time you did your first transaction manifest, you built with it, you used the wallet, you just seeing how different and how much better and how much more intuitive it is to build, but also to use all this stuff, right? You never ever want to go back to the EVM, to MetaMask. Never ever. Therefore, more and more people are getting tracked into the Radix ecosystem. That's my long-term vision. Obviously, especially after the Xian update with unlimited scalability, there's not really a need for more layer ones, right? There's just the need for one internet, not for 100 internets. And that's just my personal view. A lot of people are more in favor of multi-chain futures, but I'm a maxi, of course. And I see just one layer one that can scale to the global scale, and that's basically all we need, right? Maybe just some layer twos for specific use cases like privacy, or let's say if you want to trade in sub-seconds finalities, stuff like that makes sense for layer twos, but everything else can be done on a single layer one that can scale unlimitedly without limits.
It's like we have only one TCP IP, right?
Yes.
For all the internet, one protocol.
That's just my opinion, obviously.
No, it's an interesting point of view. Yeah. Yes, because it depends on how do we see, how do we perceive the fit of these technologies with the broader market. So if you see the blockchain as an infrastructure and as you compare it to internet, so we don't need like several internets, we need only one internet. So it's an interesting point of view. I'm going to translate it to the guys.
Just one more sentence.
Sure,
as you can see already today, it's kind of sad to see that some countries are separating their internets. Like there's a Chinese internet, right? Yeah. But that's just horrible user experience, right? So for the users in China, from people outside trying to go to communicate with Chinese people, for instance, you want to have a one unified internet, one unified ledger, worldwide adopted, and that's my personal vision.
Okay. Do you know a little about like the broader community? Like, is this feeling that Radix can be a global, like almost winner-take-all solution? This is not only Brazilian community. This is a prevalent sense among Radix community in the globe?
Hard to say if there's a general perspective or view. Many people are excited. Some are skeptical. If all these Cassandra research papers are really can do it on the mainnet later on. So we all have to see if it plays out like expected. So at least in one more day we have Babylon live. So we have one less if afterwards, and everyone can see and use everything what the Radix team has promised for many years now. And there's just a scalability update left. And if this Xian update will work as expected, from my personal point of view, there's no more need for other layer ones. But yeah, long term.
Great. Então, pessoal, o que ele falou é o seguinte: primeiro, ele achou engraçado, né, essa visão dos brazucas desse, mas ele concorda, tá? A visão dele é muito parecida com a visão da comunidade BR. Ele enxerga que no curto prazo o futuro é multi-chain, porque no curto prazo o que eles têm que fazer? Tanto o Ociswap quanto o Radix, eles têm que colocar a tecnologia para rodar e tem que atrair gente, tá? Só que a visão dele, no coração dele, ele é um Radix maximalista, né? Ele é maxi. E ele acredita que enquanto as pessoas forem usando, e ele fala um pouco da perspectiva do programador, que o programador que programa em script, o cara não consegue voltar. Que o cara fica viciado. Script, pô, agora não dá para voltar, tem que seguir, um novo mundo se abre. E ele acha que realmente, na visão de médio e longo prazo, esse efeito de aglutinação do Radix vai começar a abocanhar cada vez mercado, e se Radix der certo, né, com todos os seus upgrades, do mesmo jeito que nós não precisamos de múltiplas internets, nós só precisamos de uma internet, possivelmente nós só precisamos de uma única Layer 1 muito boa. Então essa é a visão pessoal dele, ele fez questão de frisar, mas ele compactua da visão que os brazucas têm de que Radix pode sim evoluir e se tornar uma blockchain extremamente dominante. Ele falou com pequenas exceções, como algumas Layer 2 que focam em casos de uso muito específicos, de repente ali, a altíssima frequência, ou coisa de games, aí cada um poderia achar um nicho, mas em termos de Layer 1, plataforma de contrato inteligente, genérica, para ter dApps, ele enxerga sim que o futuro pode ser dominado, em grande parte, por uma única solução, e que essa solução poderia ser a Radix. Aí ele listou aqui os 2 upgrades, né? O upgrade Babylon tá chegando agora, vai ser amanhã para depois de amanhã, tá? Eu vou até perguntar para ele sobre isso. Ele vai fazer uma cobertura ao vivo, depois eu vou passar o link para vocês. E falou também do upgrade Xian, que é o upgrade final de escalabilidade. Então eu vou falar um pouquinho mais sobre isso com ele, tá? Sobre quais são as principais coisas que a gente pode esperar, tá, do Babylon Upgrade, a gente falar um pouquinho sobre cada uma. So, Lucas, about the Babylon upgrade, let's talk a little about what's coming. Of course, I know that the upgrade is somewhat rich. It has a lot of nuances. But if you could be so kind as to summarize to us, what are the main improvements of the Babylon upgrade that Ociswap is waiting for and that is going to leverage your guys' work?
Oh, so many things. So
let's talk top 3, perhaps.
Top 3, okay.
Top 3.
Or you need to sort in my head. So before I say something else as a top 3, definitely that tokens are native to the ledger. So it's not like that NFTs tokens are basically also a smart contract, like on the Ethereum EVM. So you have to call a new smart contract for each new token NFT you want to create. That is creating a lot of complexity for developers, for users as well. A lot of attack vectors that possibly can be used for re-entrancy attacks. We see it all the time. So it's like $4 billion lost just in hacks and exploits, and Radix mitigates most of it because of native assets itself. So every single token NFTs really is inside your wallet, not inside a third-party black box smart contract you have to trust somehow. And this is definitely one aspect. The second one is, let's say, the transaction manifest, definitely, so that you know what you're doing before you're signing something. So there's no more blind signing. You have an idea what you have to also deposit, or what's the name? Deposit guarantee. So it's like a system network-wide slippage guarantee, not just a setting on our DEX. It's really everyone, every single wallet, every single user has this guarantee that nothing can happen. Basically, if the slippage is too high, it will be not go through, and nothing happens in the end. With Ethereum or with other layer ones, you can maybe have to pay fees anyway, although nothing happened at all. Or with other sharded networks, there's even the possibility that you have another token in your wallet that you actually expected to happen. So that's also, from this composability aspect, very great. So you have built-in atomic composability as well. And the third thing is, I guess that's a feature for later, but I really liked that we get rid of seed phrases. So for mass
like account abstraction or something like that.
Yeah, that's also a smart account. Yeah, that's also not my top 3, but yeah, for me personally, it's even better for the user experience, or to allow everyone to join crypto, is that you don't have to ever write down the seed phrase again. That's like 2 or 3 months after Babylon, not day 1 feature. But I cannot wait for that, because it's like an on-ledger multi-factor authentication. So in case you're losing your smartphone, so no issue. You can simply import all your stuff on a new smartphone just with your backup factors, whatever you want to do, right? It could be your friends, your family, your YubiKey, whatever. And I really like that, because I never wanted to set up that stuff for my friends or family that not so techy, not so nerdy than myself, and therefore it's finally time for everyone to join this amazing Web3 world.
Great. I'll translate first, and then I'll like to ask a few questions about your top 3. Então, pessoal, o que ele falou, né? Dos 3 top coisas que ele levantou. A primeira é muito interessante, ele levantou a questão de ativos nativos. Isso é uma coisa que é bem técnica, mas dá para a gente tentar explicar de uma forma mais didática. Quando você vai para um ecossistema como a Ethereum, tá? Você vai ter tokens. Uniswap, Aave, Curve, Compound. Todos esses tokens, na verdade, eles são contratos inteligentes, tá? No padrão ERC20, normalmente. Então, o que acontece, cara, é que numa rede como a Ethereum, você olha a sua carteira e você vê lá, poxa, Ethereum, Uni, Aave, Curve. Mas Uni, Aave e Curve não estão na sua carteira. Não é assim que funciona. Na verdade, Uni, Aave e Curve são contratos inteligentes e eles é que dizem o quanto eles estão na sua carteira. Então, nota, em termos tecnológicos, os tokens ERC20 não moram na sua carteira. O contrato inteligente do token é que fala que você tem uma parcela daqueles tokens. Então, quando o Lukas fala de ativos nativos, ele fala o seguinte: a própria blockchain, em nível de blockchain e não com contratos inteligentes, suporta a criação de ativos novos. Então, isso é muito mais seguro do que você depender de contratos inteligentes que são programados depois. Aí eu quero fazer umas perguntinhas para ele nesse sentido. Outra coisa que ele falou é sobre o Transaction Manifesto, ou seja, as transações em Radix, como o Radix suporta mais coisas nativamente, esse é um ponto que eu vou esclarecer com ele, mas eu estou entendendo o seguinte: se o ativo extra já é nativo, então deve ter suporte para o swap nativo. Ele falou, por exemplo, que você não tem que se preocupar com slippage, porque na Uniswap você tem que configurar o slippage, se você configurar errado vai dar ruim, mas ainda assim é o quê? É o contrato inteligente, a interface da Uniswap que está controlando o slippage para você. E pelo que ele colocou com o Transaction Manifesto, você consegue ver isso no nível da transação. Então você tem muito mais garantias, e a ideia é que as transações sejam apresentadas de forma humana, para você ler e você entender o que está acontecendo, que você realmente tenha muito mais tranquilidade na hora de clicar num botão e mandar alguma coisa acontecer. E o terceiro ponto que ele levantou é o seguinte: são os smart accounts, ou na verdade o fim das seed phrases. Isso não é exatamente Babylon, pouquinho depois do Babylon vai vir, tá? Em algum momento ali logo após, mas tá no pacote aqui do curto, médio prazo, digamos assim, de você poder fazer onboarding de pessoas sem que elas tenham que se preocupar com seed phrase. Então você monta sistemas alternativos de resgate de carteira, bota um two-factor authentication, faz uma coisa com família e amigos, alguma coisa assim, para você não ter que exigir, né, do onboarding de bilhões de pessoas no futuro que eles fiquem anotando, né, palavrinha-chave seed phrase na mão. E eu vou perguntar para ele o seguinte, né? Se no caso desses ativos da própria Radix já serem ativos nativos, se o swap da Radix também é nativo, porque se ele tiver swap nativo, para que a gente precisa de uma DEX? Né? Então, o que a DEX realmente faz se já tem essas funcionalidades todas embutidas no protocolo? Aí eu não entendi, porque é diferente de uma Uniswap, né? A Uniswap é um conjunto de contrato inteligente. Será que a Ociswap é um pouco diferente disso? Então, eu vou tentar fazer essa pergunta para ele. So, Lucas, it's a curiosity.
So much, yes.
Are you guys understanding something that I'm saying in Portuguese? Can you follow?
Sometimes. Few words, yeah. So.
Yeah, you can see like I know where this guy is going.
Kind of sounds the same, but yeah.
I keep the accent when I talk in Portuguese and the word is in English, so that helps. So let me ask you a question. I did not study a lot about the native assets, okay? But from what I'm understanding, you do not need like to develop an ARC20 contract. You're going to have the ability to create more tokens and more assets at protocol level, at blockchain level, correct, at Radix core level. So is the swap of tokens also implemented in native level?
So yeah, it's basically you need to deploy a component. So it's this similar term to smart contracts on Radix after Babylon, and this component has some internal logic inside it. So for instance, some swap logic, what we will deploy with Ociswap after Babylon, and there, but still also inside this component, there are native assets. So it's like, for instance, the Ociswap component can hold all the different tokens inside. They are available to swap, to trade from people that provide liquidity in different pools. And that's a cool thing. So that everything is natively there inside these components, and don't have to call all the time third parties ERC 20 smart contracts, and then getting more and more adding more and more complexity, adding more and more ERC 20 tokens, and you even need a smart contract on top of a smart contract to deal with all this complexity. So this is like a mess in terms of lines of code for people to audit it for third-party people. They have no more clue what they actually have to look into with this mess. And that's actually the reason, unfortunately, for all these hacks and exploits, because it's so easy to make mistakes, right? And on the Radix native level, there's everything is baked in. All these tokens, NFTs, are not ERC standards. They're really baked into the Radix engine core functionality. And that's heavily reduced complexity for us as developer, but also for the users, because it's like also to deal with this transaction manifest in a so natural way that you really see before you paying something, getting a receipt. You haven't a clue what you're doing. You see what actually goes out of your wallet, what gets back into. There's a predictable outcome guarantee, and also, from the first to the very last place, it's for people to actually feel that what's happening before something is happening. That those tokens are really inside your wallet, and you're putting these tokens outside your wallet inside a bucket and give it over to the other guy that takes it outside of the out of the bucket, puts it inside your own wallet. So it's like a natural token transaction. It's not like you need to go to your bank, ask your bank manager, hey, please, I sent this message, please update this smart contract for me, this balance sheet. There's somewhere inside this balance sheet, there is my account address. And I now want a little bit more USDC, a little bit less Doge or whatever coin, right? And you have to trust every single message to this black box, to this bank manager, that everything goes right? And that's horrible, actually.
Yes.
That's crypto getting used to that horrific point we are at the moment. And Radix actually finally fixes it. So that you don't need to go to a bank manager anymore. You are your own manager. So be your own bank. That's actually also a slogan.
That's taken to the extreme, right? Really be your own bank, not just
for real this time.
For
Also
real
with
this
smart
time, It's for real. Ok, o que ele falou, cara? Ele falou o seguinte, que os ativos são nativos, tá? Mas o swap tem que ser programado. Quando você programa na Radix, você usa uma linguagem de programação própria, chamada scripto, e o que você cria são componentes, tá? E o que é interessante, porque componentes podem ser reaproveitados. Então, vai ter pool de liquidez, você vai poder prover liquidez na Ociswap, e o que ele falou que é mais legal, que como você vai usar as melhorias do Babylon Upgrade, com a linguagem scripto melhorada, com as transações, né, que você pode ter human readable, né, você consegue entender o que a transação está fazendo, o que literalmente sai da sua carteira, entra na sua carteira, que isso, na verdade, é aquele seja seu próprio banco, só que tipo de verdade, cara. De verdade. Porque o que a gente tem hoje com tokens ERC20 é como se cada token ERC20 fosse um banco. É como se o token AVE fosse um banco e ele é que tem o livro razão. Ele sabe aonde estão as carteiras e onde estão as contas, e aquele contrato inteligente do token ERC20 é que manda. E ele acha que, na verdade, não, você tem que ter o token de verdade na sua carteira e não ter um apontamento externo que indica se você tem ou não tem aquele token. E que aí, realmente, a gente está indo para a questão do be your own bank, né? For real, this time, de verdade, dessa vez. Muito bem. Eu vou ter uma pergunta, o pessoal fez pergunta em português e em inglês seguido. We had like a double question, Lucas, in both Portuguese and English. The same question.
Awesome.
I don't know who is translating who right now. So these guys are asking if will Ociswap have derivatives and future markets, ou em português, se a Ociswap vai ter também mercados de futuros e derivativos?
Okay, I can see that now. Oshi vai trabalhar com...
Yes, like
say so
like
differently
YDX.
to what I see. That's fascinating. Your language.
Yes, you're checking the correspondence. The sentence is really very similar. It's just structured almost the same way.
Awesome. Yeah, derivatives futures is not a planned feature, at least in the very near future. So we already announced our mid to a little bit longer term roadmap in our blog articles. So we're focusing now on the concentrated, also balanced and imbalanced pools, liquidity pools first, also with order book functionality later on. And what's, I guess, one of the most interesting features we want to ship and is already ready today is the hooks functionality. So hooks are something that it's announced with Uniswap before, and not even live yet. So we have we couldn't look into their code, right? So nothing is public yet. So, and even figured out how they actually might want to integrate it, right? With Ethereum, with Uniswap before. And our 7 great developers were able to find an own way, an own idea how to implement it, especially in the Radix way. And this is, for me personally, the most inspiring part, because I'm not a developer myself, but just seeing people having such a great ideas all the time and coming and like it's like magic box all the time for me. And then I say, okay, we have it now. This is hooks for Radix. Let's go. So it's like you can build a little bit of logic on top of our Ociswap pools. So we will want to get more developers building for our Ociswap pools and for whatever ideas they may come up with. So for instance, with oracles, that's also what we want to do later on. So this is our first great idea, to build a great DEX, to build a great exchange experience for users, for everyday users. They have this front page experience. They find every listed token right away with a lot of information. Obviously, later on, more community stuff as well. So people are engaged, like to visit our website all the time. So this is our core vision of Ociswap, first and foremost. Not so much the leverage derivatives. That's maybe something for another team.
Yes, that's a question as well. Like, we know that things that are programmed in Radix are programmed in components, and that components are reusable. You can have like royalties over components. So perhaps someone would be able to build futures and derivatives DEX over the Ociswap components as well, and not be your guys doing it. Someone else is leveraging your liquidity and providing.
That's a cool idea, right? For a hook, maybe. Yes, that's actually could be possible. I have to ask my developers if it would be maybe possible. But
we have an idea, right?
That's something. Yeah. We're also planning a grants program for developers, so people having great ideas. Not announced yet, not ready yet, but for later, as soon as we are ready with our hooks implementation, that developers really want to join us to build great ideas, like for instance derivatives or leverage marketplaces. That could be a really cool addition. Yes.
Great. I'm also a builder here in Brazil. Like, I am engaged in several crypto projects. I do like consultancy on tokenomics and help people design tokens and stuff. So that's why I'm asking and like having someone brainstorm ideas. I can help. I can't help it. So let me translate it for the audience. A gente teve uma DR aqui, cara. Tem uma resenha boa aqui. Ele falou o seguinte: just out of curiosity, when someone thanked Yuri for doing the comment, so there was a guy, Ornito. It's thanked Yuri for the question about futures, but the Machado didn't like it because he had asked it first. So he said, I already did this question, you're ungrateful dog.
Oh, that's a very pressing question.
Yes, guys, chill out. Everything's okay. We are home. Fica tranquilo, gente. Ungrateful dog. So, o que ele falou, pessoal? O seguinte. Eles não vão fazer futuros e derivativos porque o foco deles agora é o seguinte: é fazer uma baita de uma DEX, sacou? Então, em vez de ficar pensando em 1001 funcionalidades, eles querem fazer uma DEX top das galáxias. Então, eventualmente fazer o quê? Por exemplo, implementar o sistema de hooks que está previsto no Uniswap V4. Não dá para a gente entrar em muitos detalhes agora, porque já é um outro papo, mas os hooks vão servir para você ter mais riqueza na hora de montar e de reaproveitar liquidez dentro de pools. E ainda perguntei para ele o seguinte, que quando você programa em Radix, você usa script, e as coisas são organizadas em componentes. E esses componentes são reaproveitáveis. Então eu perguntei para ele o seguinte, cara, será que alguém não poderia pegar os componentes da Ociswap e usar isso como base para fazer um outro projeto de futuros derivativos e reaproveitar a Ociswap? Aí ele falou, pô, que ideia maneira, do caralho e tal, né? Então, acho que pode dar bom, ele até gostou da ideia assim, então ficou uma conversa interessante aqui. Vamos seguir aqui, a próxima pergunta que eu vou fazer para ele é a seguinte, né? Perguntar um pouquinho sobre as diferenças do Xian para o Babylon, tá? E depois eu vou puxar algumas perguntinhas aqui da audiência também e a gente vai fechar a nossa entrevista. So, Lucas, when we talk about Babylon upgrade versus Xian upgrade, let's take a look in the future and see where all of this is going. Right now, after Babylon upgrade, Radix will be operating like a single shard. So we are almost like a giant single shard. To have the basis for sharding, but it's only one shard. That's my understanding. First, I would like to clarify that and ask to you, what can we expect in the future when we really are going to see like the holy grail of the scalability trilemma, the massive linear super scalability, quasi infinity. Oh my God, we are going to take over the world when we have multiple shardings. Is that what you are expecting for Xian upgrade? How can we compare these both upgrades?
Good question. So to be a bit more precise, we're running now on hot stuff BFT algorithm, also still with Babylon, also with the current Olympia network. It's not really a sharded or even a single sharded network in that instance. Hard to compare it with a single or multi-shard. But still, the Radix team developed everything now with Babylon with sharding in mind. Although we don't have any sharding in place yet with the Babylon update, they already have thought about every single step what they're implementing now with the Radix engine, with Scripto, with all these features and functionalities, that it will work sharded as well. So it was also in close contact with Dan, that it will be working as expected as well when they're going fully pre-sharded later on with the Cerberus implementation. So at the moment we are not technically speaking Cerberus, so it's like hot stuff BFT. But it's not an issue because, like I said, they already had everything in mind. For the Xian vision, it's like that will be also really interesting. Not so much from a user or developer perspective, because we have everything ready now with Babylon, so we can build our dApps, our smart contracts, as long as we don't hit the TPS limit all the time. Nobody really cares, right, in the network. So we're just doing our stuff, and we have now fun with the ecosystem. But hopefully, Radix will be so crowded that we hit those TPS limits, and that is a great issue to have. And at that time, hopefully, we are also very close to the Xian update, so we don't have to hit any TPS limits anymore. And with this pre-sharded Cerberus, it's also an absolutely fascinating topic that this is possible, or that this will be possible even with all this Radix engine stuff. That's already so fascinating. What they have done as the Radix team. That's such an amazing achievement already, and then with this unlimited scalability on top of it, it's like the ultimate solution. I cannot say everything else.
Ok, thanks a lot. Então o que ele falou, pessoal, que na verdade não é bem, tá? Não é bem como se o Babylon Upgrade fosse um único shard, que essa minha interpretação não é muito boa. Porque, na verdade, com o Babylon Upgrade, nós ainda não estamos trabalhando com o consenso Cerberus, que é quem realmente vai implementar os shards. Esse é um sistema de consenso pré-sharding, tá? Que está em operação enquanto o Xian não chega. Aí sim, tendo o upgrade Xian, a gente vai colocar o mecanismo de consenso Cerberus para funcionar com toda a sua complexidade e com a questão dos múltiplos shardings, né? E a escalabilidade linear, que é uma ideia de que quanto mais validadores você tem, mais transações você consegue processar. Isso é radicalmente diferente de Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, Atom, onde aumentar o número de validadores só aumenta a segurança, mas não aumenta a capacidade de processamento da rede. Na proposta da Radix, ter mais validadores aumenta a capacidade de TPS da rede. E ele fala que enquanto Radix estiver com folga no TPS, tá tranquilo, tá? Mas que ele quer ver mesmo o negócio pegar fogo e ele quer ver ter teto de TPS para o Xian chegar e mandar ver e realmente botar a escalabilidade para funcionar. I just took the liberty, Lucas, to clarify to the audience how Radix is different in the sense that if you have more nodes or more validators, I'll quote it, double quote, you can also have more computational capacity. You can process more transactions. And that is not... Yes, the more validation nodes you have, the more you can rise your TPS. So it's linear scalability.
So we're talking now about after Xian milestone. Right?
Yes, after Xian, like in Cerberus. In Cerberus.
Correct.
That's Cerberus' vision.
Yeah.
Put more people to validate, increase the TPS. And that is not true for other blockchains. Like in Ethereum, if you have more nodes, you have more security, but not more computational power. And I was just clarifying this to the audience. Correct. I don't know if it's correct. It's correct.
Yeah, you have even with typical blockchains added more latency on top of it. So if you have more nodes, it's not even beneficial in terms of throughput. So you can just put so many transactions in one block. That's it. Without sharding or without other layer 2 or other sort of solutions, you don't scale with limited block size. So that's the reason we cannot just simply add more nodes and then scale. That's not possible. With Xian, Cerberus, Radix, that's possible. Not technically speaking that you just add one node and you're scaling like that additional added compute, because it's like you have validator sets, or so it's like if you're adding around, let's say 50 or 100 new nodes, you have more space now from the shard space that can be transacted in parallel. So it's like a multi-core processor, more or less. And if you have more validator groups, so shard groups, there's so many words, sorry, that can process everything in parallel at the same time. The more nodes you have, the more throughput, basically, in the end. So it's like also Dan has shown it in the Cassandra research network already. So it's like if he has more validator sets, or I'm mixing up the words at the moment, I'm sorry. So it's not validator sets, it's shard groups, sorry. So you have more shard groups, and then I have more linearly scalable TPS in the end,
Legal, ok. Ele validou o que eu coloquei, né? Ele também vê dessa maneira que a diferença da Radix após o Xian Upgrade, após o Cerberus, é que maiores conjuntos de validadores, na verdade, né, maiores grupos de shards, né, vai tornar a escalabilidade maior. E essa é a diferença de o espaço de bloco da blockchain para o espaço de bloco do shard space, né, que eles falam, o conjunto de todos os shards. Uma blockchain tradicional é limitada pelo tamanho do bloco, e ele falou, inclusive, uma coisa que é importante. Você colocar mais validadores na Ethereum ou em outras redes, que são redes onde você aumenta a segurança quando aumenta o número de validadores, você não só não aumenta a capacidade de processamento, como você degrada ela. Porque quanto mais nodes, maior é o trabalho de sincronizar essa galera. Então você aumenta a latência, que é a demora na sincronização dessa turma. Então a proposta de escalabilidade da Radix é diferente, tá? Ele deu aqui o exemplo que o white paper do Cerberus também dá, quando a gente estudou, que é o exemplo da computação paralela. Esses shards montam espaços, não é espaço de bloco, tá? Mas espaços no livro razão, na DLT, que são independentes entre si e podem ser processados de forma paralela. Muito bem, I'm going to get some questions from the audience. We have like 10 minutes to talk to the audience, then we're going to close our interview. Vou puxar aqui uns 10 minutinhos de pergunta, tá, pessoal? Vamos ver aqui na ordem, tá? Que eu fui separando o que
When
vocês
Babylon.
foram pedindo. When Babylon.
Yes. Most important question tomorrow. But for me, not yet in 8 minutes tomorrow for me. Okay.
We can close with that question. Yes, like ETA for upgrade. Vou puxar algumas perguntinhas aqui.
My camera. Okay.
Já foi. Like, we have a question from Guilherme. He already did it in English, so I'll read it in Portuguese first, then read it in English for you.
Yes.
So, o Guilherme está perguntando aqui, cara, se vai ter alguma solução tipo um clique após Babylon na Ociswap para trocar tokens que estão em versões antigas por versões novas, ou se isso vai ter que ser feito projeto a projeto. Like, Lucas, will there be a one-click solution post-Babylon for upgrading old versions of tokens, or each and every project will have to do its own upgrade mechanism?
That's a cool question. So we really made the effort to find a unified solution for every single project, every single listed token. So we asked everyone in the community who listed a token on our CDEX. That's just closed an hour ago. So we're sad also. But yeah,
fresh news.
We're looking forward to the DEX very soon as well. So that's not just a little bit gap now. So that's the reason we also have provided a blueprint. So that will be deployed as a smart contract right after Babylon. And everyone can use this to create first the new Babylon token, put it inside this component, and then do the one-to-one swap from old to new token. So it's like the old token gets sent to it. It's like burned. So out of circulation, you're getting the new token back. And we already have now a group with all the teams who accepted this or want to do these token swaps afterwards. So we now just figure it out that everyone is in and that we're getting everything done. So basically, all the users needs to do in the end is just click one button on our Ociswap DEX. So it's like a pop-up. Hey, do you want to do the swaps? And it's really like all these V1 to V2 tokens all in one. It's like every single swap will be done in just a single click. That's really cool to achieve. And at the same time, also to re-provide your liquidity from our CDEX to the DEX as well. So you have all these swaps from V1 to V2 and to provide liquidity again with the new V2 tokens all in one step. That's really cool.
I'm impressed. O que ele falou, pessoal? O seguinte, que antes e pós-Babylon vai ter uma mudança na questão dos ativos nativos. Então, tokens que já existiam antes vão ter que ser migrados. A pergunta do Guilherme é sobre a facilidade da migração. Se vai ter tipo um botão mágico que você clica e tipo resolva a minha vida, migra geral. E o que o Lucas falou é que vai ter, cara, que eles criaram um conjunto de componentes que abarca as possibilidades todas e que no front-end vai ter um botão tipo, faça meus upgrades. E não só os tokens serão migrados, como se você tiver posições em pool de liquidez, a própria posição de liquidez já vai ser migrada. Você não tem tipo que tirar o token da pool, migrar e colocar de volta. Ele já migra a própria liquidez do pool. Então, bem interessante. Vou puxar mais uma aqui sobre cross-chain, tá? This is a question from Samito. If will Ociswap facilitate the transfer of liquidity from other blockchains? Are going to be like bridges, cross-chain swaps? Então, isso deve ser settled em português. Ele está perguntando aqui, o Samito, se a Ociswap vai ter como transferência de tokens entre blockchains. Então, você poder pegar tokens da Ethereum, envelopar na Radix, ou fazer swap cross-chain, por exemplo.
So Ociswap itself is not a cross-chain swap, at least not in the beginning, but we're leveraging all these efforts from other projects teams or even the Radix team itself with InstaBridge. They just announced yesterday that we will have, even on date 1 or 2, so right at the get-go, basically with Babylon, wrapped assets like USDC and wrapped USDT, wrapped ETH even. So we have all these wrapped assets on Radix, not natively, but at least wrapped. It's also cool to have at the very first day. And as soon as the first wrapped tokens are available on the Radix network, we will have pools as well on Ociswap. And I guess it's so cool to see it for the first time after such a long CDEX time. We were stuck with the XRD pairs, right? We now have finally the first pools with stablecoins as well. Really looking forward to that. There's so much more opportunity now to build everything around a great ecosystem, not just stablecoins, also oracles, cross-chain interaction, that everything comes now together with the state. Cannot wait for that.
Yeah. Okay, another question. These rapid tokens at the Radix ecosystem, they were going to be native assets as well?
Maybe later on day one, it's a wrapped USDT, a wrapped USDC, wrapped ETH, wrapped. That's kind of interesting. Wrapped Bitcoin, because it's wrapped from Ethereum and then it's wrapped again on Radix. That's kind of interesting. So we have a wrapped Bitcoin as well.
It's that's crazy, man. It's like a component. It's a crypto that is settling these tokens.
I'm sorry. Once again,
how are these rapid tokens coming to life in Radix ecosystem? If they are not native assets, will they be like programmed in ERC20 style using crypto, something like that?
Good question. How it will be done in the technical sense? So it's the InstaBridge team itself. It's part of the RDX Works core developer team. So like a separate entity. It's called InstaBridge, and they will do the bridge to bridge all these assets. I guess they will have liquidity on the Ethereum side and on the Radix side itself. So, but in the end, I have no clue what they're doing.
We will have to talk to them how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I have to ask them.
What's the team? It's a Radix team, or it's like a third-party team?
It's part of the core developer entities. So they have different entities, like also the InstaPass for the KYC AML. It's like now Metaverse or MetaPass or something. So they have different entities for different sections of their different products they want to launch, right? So that's just one of it.
Ok. Então, o que ele falou, pessoal? O seguinte, que eles não são uma DEX cross-chain, eles não fazem swap cross-chain, mas que logo após o upgrade Babylon, uma divisão do time core da Radix vai implementar uma ponte para que a gente possa trazer tokens envelopados do ecossistema da Ethereum, por exemplo, para o ecossistema da Radix. Ele até brincou, né, que é o envelopamento do que já é envelopado, porque, por exemplo, tem Bitcoin na Ethereum, é o Rapid Bitcoin, WBTC.
Wrapped Bitcoin.
Aí se a gente pega o Rapid Bitcoin, que já é envelopado na Ethereum, e manda para envelopar na Radix, aí é o Rapid Bitcoin, né? Então, a gente está wrapping the wrapping, rapid. E que ele falou que tem, assim, mas de todo jeito, isso está deixando ele muito animado, porque a gente vai poder trazer, por exemplo, stablecoins envelopadas. Então, a gente vai poder fazer pools de liquidez na Ociswap com stablecoin, vamos poder trazer oráculos. Então, que ele está bem animado com a Babylon Upgrade, porque vai trazer esses benefícios, muito embora não sejam eles em si que estejam fazendo essa parte cross-chain. So, a gente está caminhando para o final da entrevista, pessoal. Eu vou explicar para ele nossa dinâmica de encerramento, para vocês colarem, tá? I'm going to explain to them, Lukas. We're going to for closing of our interview. It was like a pleasure to have you here. Same. But we have like a closing ritual in our channel. I'm going to give you some time to say your final remarks. Perhaps you would like to invite everyone to watch your coverage of the upgrade. I'll give them the link to YouTube. So as you're saying your final words and say goodbye to everyone, people in the audience will go to the chat and give you like thank you for your time. We'll thank you for your time with us. We'll wish you all the very best and give you lots of good feedbacks so we can have like a nice closing. I'll just explain to them and then we're going to start the closing. Então, pessoal, para quem já vai estar há muito tempo no canal, já sabe como é que a gente faz. Para quem, por acaso, é novo no canal, a gente tem um ritual de encerramento que é o seguinte. Eu vou dar para ele o tempo dele falar ali as últimas palavras, dar um tchau para a galera toda, dizer algumas coisinhas. E enquanto ele está se despedindo, a gente aqui, vocês que estão na audiência, cola com o cursor no campo de comentário e vamos agradecer o tempo dele conosco, vamos desejar tudo de bom para ele, pô, dar um abraço pro cara e desejar muito sucesso e muita sorte pro projeto dele. Então eu vou liberar esse tempo e vocês já começam a mandar o feedback. Lucas, your final words for us today.
First, also, thank you so much for having me tonight. It was really a pleasure. So close to this massive milestone. We're all waiting for some even 10 years. For myself, it's like 2.5 years already. Also feels like an eternity. For others, like an eternity even more. So it's insane how long people are already inside Radix. And it's really that's really the fascination for me that's possible in such a crazy place like crypto. Everyone is just aping for the next big thing, right? But to see such a project still alive, still around 10 years after research developing, and we're now coming to the biggest milestone yet by far for this 10-year history of Radix, just tomorrow. It's amazing. So at one hand side, now it's time to say goodbye to the old Olympia world. I just closed our CDEX. It has run for over 1 year, longer than expected. There were some delays with Babylon, of course. But yeah, now it's finally time to say goodbye, but also it's now time to say hello to a completely new world, to completely new opportunities, and to say hello to so many more people, to onboard so many more people to the Radix ecosystem. Finally, we have something to show. Finally, we are not anymore the promised land. We're hearing it like every day, 1 million times. It's just promises. Nobody can hear it. And finally, we are now in the state, can finally say, people, download this Radix wallet. See it for yourself, for Apple or for Android. 2 steps, you're onboarded already. Click one button and you are connected with your Ociswap DEX. Do your first swap, bam. Hello, Babylon. Hello, Radix. We are finally DL1 visible on DeFi Llama, on CoinMarketCap, on CoinGecko. We do everything now to have us everywhere listed, all in crypto, so nobody can avoid us anymore. And that's one of my biggest goals now in the near-term future, that we are on all these places and people cannot miss us anymore. So here we are. Let's go.
Great, man. There are lots of positive feedbacks. The people are very fond of your interview. They're all thanking you. I'm going to translate your final remarks. You can swap through the comments. And also, I'm letting the link for your live coverage of the upgrade. I'll talk to people about it. Então, gente, é o seguinte, o upgrade Babylon é amanhã, tá? E ele vai fazer uma cobertura ao vivo em inglês, óbvio, né? Aí quem consegue falar pode acompanhar. Esse é o link da live dele, ele vai acompanhar ali passo a passo. E ele fez filosofou com a gente, né? I say that you like did some philosophy with us, which is good because I'm a philosopher as well. In Brazil, I am the first and only techno philosopher, a guy that thinks about crypto. So it's a nice closing you gave. I'm going to translate to the audience. Falei pra ele que ele é tecnofilósofo também, sacou? Não importa. E seguinte, cara, ele falou que o tempo que passou até esse upgrade, né, 2 anos e meio, pareceu uma eternidade, cara. Especialmente quando a gente vê um mundo cripto onde está todo mundo simplesmente no modo degen, buscando a próxima grana fácil, sacou? Uma coisa assim muito louca. E que ele teve que dizer adeus pro upgrade Olímpia, que foi o upgrade antigo, ele teve que desligar a DEX dele, né? O cara desligou a DEX antiga enquanto ele se prepara para ligar a DEX nova. Então tem uma coisa do saudosismo, né? De dar adeus pro passado e dar oi para o futuro. E que ele fala que a sensação dele, acho por isso que ele se emocionou, como o Marcelo falou, é que, cara, finalmente, depois de anos, mané, Radix vai poder mostrar, na visão dele, que é mais do que promessa, porque aquela promessa, e o Babylon Upgrade, ele mostra que parte da promessa já está aí, que vai ser entregue. Então ele está convidando todo mundo a, após o Babylon Upgrade, fazer uma carteirinha na Radix, se conectar lá na Ociswap e fazer um trade para empurrar o Ociswap lá no ranking do DeFi Llama e ninguém mais poder falar e ninguém mais poder ignorar a Radix, cara. So that's it, Lukas. Thank you a lot, man. You are a very nice guy. Very good talking to you. It was a pleasure to have you here. And we can get you back when we are near Xian upgrade. Then we talk again.
Yes, let's go. Looking forward to that so much. Thank you so much.
Legal, ele agradeceu, pessoal. Dei aqui tchau para ele. Vou só pedir para ele falar o bons ventos e a gente encerra. Our final reward when we say goodbye to the audience, Lukas. We say to everyone like good winds. It's bons ventos em português.
Bons ventos.
Bons ventos. So, bons ventos, Lukas.
Bons ventos.
Bye-bye.
Let's go. Bye-bye.